Welcome, everybody, to the Magnetico podcast. I am Jason. I'm here with my co-host, Cole.
What's going on?
We got my guy, Carolina Sen, on the line. What's good?
Yeah. What's going on? It's Carolina everywhere. How y'all been?
Intern Jaden is on assignment, so he's not with us this week. You are listening to the 99th ranked podcast in the world.
All right.
Wait, you got an intern?
Hey, I broke it to him last week that we broke the top 100. We was number 100 in the world in sports and family. We've hit 99 after last week's epic episode.
That's what's up.
So, like we said, Jaden's not with us. He's on assignment. And hopefully he'll have something good to report to us next week. But we got Carolina Sen. And before we get started, I just want to give some flowers where they're due. Congratulations on your album. Go ahead and
I appreciate that.
Tell the fans that are listening where they can listen to you, where they can check you out on social media, so we don't wait to the end. Because, we're number 99, but they only maybe listen to the first 10. You know what I mean?
Right. No. So the album is Sin City, but S-E-N, a play on my name, Carolina Sen. And it's funny, my little moniker, my little catchphrase is Carolina everywhere. You can listen to it literally everywhere. It's on Tidal, it's on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, it's on YouTube. And just to know, it's a completely curse word free rap album as well. So you don't have to worry about not being able to play it at work or in front of the kids or whatnot like that. So, but yeah, Carolina everywhere. Carolina Sin City out on every platform, every streaming platform out there.
Now, okay, Will Smith, did you go back and change it, or did you drop it that way on purpose?
No, I did it that way on purpose. I had a friend of mine whose daughter loves the fact that I rap. She's 12, 13, and he was like, I'd let her listen to more, if you didn't. I was like, well, and this was after I had dropped the author of the first album. I said, well, when I do the next one, I'm going to do it completely curse-free so that she could listen to the album.
Nice.
And so I did that. And then now going forward, I think I'm going to go keep that path. Like, I had somebody reach out to me yesterday and was like, he was like, I didn't even realize you didn't cuss on the album. I'm like, well, that's the point, for it to not sound corny, right, and still hit hard, but not necessarily use curse words all throughout it. You know what I mean?
Well, we've been friends for a long time, and I've always known you've had bars, but I can definitely tell the growth in this album from the last one. And there's some joints on there, man, like I'm terrible at remembering names. I think one's called Come For Me or Come At Me.
Right.
Come For Me is one of my favorites. Monsters and Goblins, that's another one of my favorites. So congrats. Big ups. Go check them out on all platforms. Carolina Sen. But let's get into it. We had the Mike Tyson fight. We got the Mets are going to pay $50 million more than anybody that puts out a contract to Juan Soto. We got NFL and NBA to discuss, and Florida Gator football. So let's get into it. Cole, where you want to start?
We can start with the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight, because that's where we ended off last time. It was exactly like what I said, scripted. I'm just saying.
So you're going with you think Mike Tyson got in the ring?
1,000%. I already know what you're about to say. He got in the ring, knew the script, and held back. Yes. He had a script. He knew what was going to happen. He was there for the money.
Okay, I'm not necessarily going to disagree with you. I don't think it's black and white. I think there's a lot of gray. But Seneca, what's your initial take off the fight?
So as far as it being scripted, I don't necessarily think it's scripted. I think he had clauses in the contract that didn't allow him to win. I do think there's a video going around where he tapped Jake on the back afterwards. I think it is where Jake told him he needed to slow up, but I'm pretty sure that there are no uppercuts available and no knockouts. Those are the kind of rumors that have been discussed. Other people that have come out associated with these fights where they've talked about signing other people to do it have said those kind of things were supposed to be in the contract. And then you see Mike pulling punches. I'm a Mike fan. I've known like the biting of the gloves thing. I 1000% said this during the fight. I'm like, he's doing that because he has to hold back.
Yeah.
I don't think he understood until he was in the ring how hard it would be to not be on autopilot and do the things that he needed, like he would do to knock somebody out. And I think that's why we saw what we saw.
All right, I can go with that. I will agree with both of you. I think Cole calls it a script. There was definitely probably an agreement, no uppercuts, no knockouts. Let's try not to knock each other out type of thing. I think that was more to protect Mike than anything.
Yeah.
What I saw, I was telling Donna this last night. I always tell Cole, Seneca too, you've heard me say it, I trust my eyes. And what my eyes told me is that the one that was holding back and not trying to hurt somebody was Jake Paul. Could Mike Tyson have done more? Yes. Was it probably agreed upon that he wasn't going to? Yes. But I think this would have been a totally different fight if they would have fought on the original date that they had planned.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking a little bit into it, saying you may know more about it, but Mike Tyson was sick. Like, I heard a transfusion. Like, I don't know exactly what it was, but it wasn't just he had the flu. Like, he was
right. He had like liver or kidney issues.
Yeah, like he was in the hospital going through it. So what I saw was a 60-year-old, almost 60-year-old man in the ring. And me and Seneca had a sidebar through a text thread about this. His legs didn't look right to me, Sen. Like when I watched those videos that you mentioned and how he looked in training, and I'm like, well, yeah, they can make anything look away. He didn't from the beginning look like, and maybe it was getting punched in the face at 58 years old. You know what I mean? Like, it takes something from you. Maybe it was being in the center ring in front of 80,000 people at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. His legs didn't look good, and I think Jake is the one that really could have hurt Mike and was the one holding back. What's your thoughts, Sen?
So I think I don't doubt that he wasn't tired by round 4, 5, and 6, and so on, right? Like I don't doubt that at all. I don't think they make it 3 rounds if he's allowed to do what he wants to do, right? You know what I mean? Like I definitely think as an older fighter, he's getting tired later in the round. So I do think that wasn't fake or staged. I just think that it's a different fight if there's no restraints on what he is and is not allowed to do, right? So I think it's a combination of everything is why we ended up with what we got.
But don't you?
Like I don't.
Go ahead.
I would just say I don't think it's scripted. I think it was manipulated. If that makes better sense.
Don't you think him and Roy had the same kind of script though? Because he did not look like Mike Tyson, and I know it's 4 whatever years later, but he did not look the same in the ring. He wasn't bouncing.
I agree. Oh yeah, I agree. But I watched a longer clip of him training and sparring, and like the night and day difference between him moving around the ring, because Jake wasn't hitting him like any more than the sparring person was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Mike looked like he couldn't walk that day.
Yeah, it looked weird,
like he
right?
Had a flare up or something. You know what I mean?
I don't mean to be mean. He looked like somebody from the time he walked to the ring, which I like that he walked by himself to the ring because that's not traditional Mike. But when he walked to the ring, from the time he got in the ring and the whole fight, he looked like somebody that may have had a stroke.
Yeah.
He didn't look right.
He didn't look like healthy, like walking down the ramp.
There was something was off with Mike. And then I'll agree with you guys that they agreed upon a script, if you will, like that type of thing. But Mike's answer to one of the questions that the ring announcer asked, he told everybody right then. Like, he wanted to prove something to himself. He got paid, what, $40 million?
Something like that.
He got paid $40 million, and he wanted to just prove that
he could go out there and do it.
Yeah, and then, listen, there's something to be said about, like, leaving your legacy. Because I kept saying to Cole, like, he can't go out and be remembered this way. Like, he's got to give a flurry. He's got to do something. But I think just going 8 rounds with a younger man who's a lot stronger, he ain't clean. Jake Paul's not a clean fighter.
Yeah.
So, I think he was more proving something to himself. And then kind of for Cole's generation and Jaden that joins us, intern Jaden, it's kind of like, go watch my clips. See what I'm about. You're getting to see me. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of like, we went and seen the MJ tribute on Broadway. Like, you're getting to remember it, like the greatness that was. So
I thought you were talking about Michael Jordan, but
no,
Michael Jackson.
No, Michael Jackson. But I don't want to see it no more. It was interesting. Evander Holyfield. Not everybody wants a payday. Evander Holyfield came out and said something about a trilogy matchup, and Mike said that the trilogy is that we're friends. Like, Mike ain't trying to do that no more. Like, it's over. It's over for that.
I don't even feel like he should have done this. Like,
but
I don't know. It's just like he didn't
I just
look.
want, and now there's a guy going around. I can't remember his name. Where he's talking about he was in negotiations to fight him, and they had the NDA set up, and then all the clauses and stuff like that, and it was talking about the, not knocking Jake out and what would happen if he, it's hard to tell what's true when people come out the woodworks. You don't know if they're just clout chasing or not, right? But like I said, I just think it was set up. It's going to be hard to believe any of his fights are legit. And when he first started this, he talked about how all of this stuff was fake and script. Like himself in an interview, I was watching it, where he was talking about how he had heard so much about fights being fixed, and he's like, all of it's fake, da-da-da. There's no reason it doesn't benefit him to fight somebody for real. And nobody's ever going to believe until I think I told you, until he takes like a standing 8 count or actually gets knocked out, nobody's going to believe that the other person was allowed to fight him for real.
And he's pretty much become the heel of boxing. Like, his brother's in the WWF now, or whatever they call that crap now.
WWE still.
WWE, but he's become he's doing right now what Floyd Mayweather at the end of his boxing career became. Everybody's watching to see him lose. Everybody wants to see Jake lose. That's why we watch Floyd fights at the end, because Floyd was just so running his mouth and talking. You're like, this guy's going to get knocked down. Then he danced around and dodged and weaved and hit one on points. But this is the problem with boxing. You leave it up to judges, because I didn't watch the fight. I know Seneca watched it. I think you watched it, Cole. The 2 girls that fought, apparently there's a big controversy in that fight.
Oh, yeah.
On who won the fight. And that's boxing, and that's why people don't like it.
Yeah, because the girl that lost, she threw like 150 more. Like, she landed 150 more punches than the girl that won.
How? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. She lost by 1 point.
The biggest controversy in that is that I think the Irish fighter was leading with her head. She was headbutting her, like, to the point where the ref eventually docked her a point, right? And she fought well too. Like that, it wasn't like it was just lopsided. I want to be clear about that. But I do believe the other young lady won. And the leading with the head thing was just, the ref should have called that. I mean, it was to the point where she gassed her up, like, above her eye and stuff. It was, and so, and then they gave her the score, and it was crazy. It was crazy.
Well, let's get into Netflix. Epic fail. Epic fail in my book.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
They weren't ready at all.
They wasn't ready.
They weren't ready for how many people were going to be on there watching that fight.
How? Why?
I think how many people? Like
It said
12 million?
No, 68 million. is what I heard.
Whoa, I was off.
Because somebody sits in a boardroom, just like we talked about when you work where you worked and where somebody sits in a boardroom and thinks they have all the answers until practicality hits them in the face.
Yeah, I don't know. And now that Netflix is trying to do live NFL games, and you better have it ready, because it really, like, if Mike Tyson would have knocked Jake Paul out or vice versa in round 3 when my screen was buffering and Cole had to turn it off and log back in, like, you just ruined it. And I don't never want to see nothing else you do if that would have happened. Now, the fight went to 8 rounds and it came back on and we got to see it. And then the commentators were horrible. Like, they couldn't get the mics to work on the set. You couldn't hear Evander Holyfield. Like, epic fail. Epic fail.
Oh, yeah. It seemed like a B-rated production.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't like it. I'm not mad at Netflix doing stuff, but
they can't do that with football.
Yeah, you can't.
They can't do that.
You can't.
Football.
I don't want to miss a play.
It's Christmas.
You can't do that with football.
They're doing 2
Football
games on
is
Christmas
so big.
Day.
And now apparently Beyonce is going to do a concert
Yeah,
live on
halftime show.
Netflix, halftime of the.
And I'm pretty sure it's at the Chiefs game too.
Yeah, it's kind of. This is a tech battle that's going on.
The Super Bowl will be a Chiefs game, but
No, this is the Christmas Day game. That Beyonce is supposed to perform live at halftime of that game on Christmas Day, live on Netflix. Like,
listen, the wrestling fans are already preemptively upset because they moved Raw and all of that stuff to Netflix come the beginning of the year. So but you can't do that again. Football's too big.
I mean, I'm sure there's too much money involved for them not to fix it. It's gonna get fixed. People on the Joe Budden podcast, they were talking about, well, did you pay your bill? Right. Like they were buffering out the people that are sharing it too much with their. Like, you got the premium.
The good thing is this is an easy fix, right? Like you just pay for the more hosting, the network abilities and stuff. Like, it's an easy fix.
Yeah.
They just got to spend a little more money than they wanted to spend on it originally,
Now, I will say that for the sport of boxing, I think Jake Paul, I respect Jake and his brother. I don't necessarily like them, but I respect what they've done and what they've built. But I do love, because Seneca told me, each of those girls women that fought in that fight before them, they made $6 million apiece.
Yeah,
you're not making that even if you fought at Madison Square Garden on HBO, you're not making nowhere near that. So,
and even the woman that lost she even said it. She's like, I'm on Netflix right now at Madison Square Garden and fighting. Like, she was appreciative. Like, she didn't want. Like, her corner was going hard about the fight, but she didn't want to necessarily take away from that. You know what I mean? But she even mentioned it. She's like, this is a great opportunity,
So I want to ask both of you. I'll start with you, Cole. Who do you want to see Jake Paul fight next?
Honestly, I don't really care. I want it to be a professional boxer. I want him to prove that he can actually do it against the best of the best in the world, not a retired boxer, retired MMA fighter.
The thing about that, though, Cole, and I'm with you. I said the same thing. But the thing about it, he's fought professional boxers. He's lost.
Yeah.
He's fought one professional boxer and he's lost.
Listen,
he's 10-1.
This is the only way I believe anything. We'll figure out whichever weight class he's going to fight in.
I think.
And he's got to fight. He's got to fight the champion.
Yeah.
The belt's got to be on the line.
Yeah.
Because then we know the champion's not trying to lose the belt.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That's it. Because I won't believe anything else.
Yeah. I know they're throwing Canelo's name out there.
No.
Nah. I think Canelo, but see, Canelo's so much smaller too, right?
Yeah, Canelo's like what? 5, my bad. 5, like what, 8? And he's not in Jake Paul's weight class?
That's the thing. He's fighting guys that are smaller. You know what the fight that I would like to see?
What?
Well, what's the big guy that may go down as one of the best pound for pound heavyweight champions
John
ever?
Jones?
That's who I want, but that's not who I was going to start with.
Oh.
Who's the guy now? Is it Tommy Fury?
Tommy Fury?
Not Tommy. Tommy's the one who beat him, right?
Oh, Tyson Fury?
Tyson Fury.
Are you crazy?
Go fight Tyson Fury.
Are you crazy?
No, I'm
Jake
not.
Paul would never do that.
Go fight Tyson Fury.
Jake Paul would never fight
And
Tyson
if you're not
Fury.
going to fight Tyson Fury, fight John Jones.
Ain't Tyson Fury like 6'7"?
You mean to tell me if John Jones can make $40 million, he won't put on some boxing gloves and fight Jake Paul? Come on. Let's get it done. Get Dana involved. Let's get it done. I want to see, like Sin said, like if you're that bad of a man, Jake, fight these guys. Stop fighting these wrestlers. Stop fighting these MMA guys who are old and retired. The boxers are old and retired. Fight somebody that's your age, your weight, your height, and let's see what you can really do. But
How are you gonna tell him to go fight somebody in like his like age and weight and height, but you're telling him go fight Tommy Fury or Tyson Fury?
Tyson Fury
Tyson Fury is 6'9", Dad. Tyson Fury is 6'9".
Once you're a heavyweight, that's it, Cole. There's no super heavyweight.
Tyson Fury is like 300 pounds.
It
Jake
doesn't
Paul
matter.
is 220.
It's a heavyweight. Seneca, is there something below? I mean, obviously there's something below heavyweight, but like once you get to a certain weight, you're heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
Like there's
I
nothing.
do think they have I do think they different. So different. Me and somebody else was just talking about this with wrestling. Different like different fighting companies sometimes have a super heavyweight, right? Like if you like George Foreman size, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's usually. And listen, I can't even try to begin to act like I'm an expert on the class weights in boxing, right? But yeah, I mean, once you make heavyweight for a lot of places, that's it. Like, there's no worrying about how much bigger you are after that.
Well, we can move on from this topic. We can jump into college football. We'll start with the Gators against LSU. Big win for the Gators. Billy Napier. I don't have much to say on it other than it was much needed deposit to the fan base, a win at home against a top 25 team.
Even though LSU's not really that good.
But let me just say this, because Cole, you said it off air before we hit record. DJ Lagway is way better than I thought he was going to be.
I knew he was going to be good, by the way.
No, I knew he was going to be good, and Seneca's a Miami fan. So we got another ACC non-biased voice here that can weigh in. He played against LSU. He had a thing on his leg that wouldn't let him run. So LSU's defense knew he wasn't going to scramble. And he made 2 throws in that game. I think you missed because you were at the courts. That should have been picks. Terrible throws. Yeah. Terrible read. But the amount of throw, I did not know. I knew he had the deep ball. But the precision on his pass, I want to see him better in the intermediate routes, the little check downs that I've talked about before. But, man, this kid can throw the football.
Oh, yeah.
So when we see him fully healthy next year.
Oh, next year's going to be so special.
Like, this kid is, you said he may be the best quarterback that Florida had. I've said it on air on the podcast. He is by far the best recruit that Florida has had since Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
by far,
for sure.
So they play Ole Miss this game. This week. We won't waste a whole bunch of time on the Gators. Let's just get a non-biased opinion on DJ Lagway. What you think, Sin?
You want me to give you an unbiased opinion?
Yeah, I mean, what you think about the kid? Like, we could be subjective and like I said my thoughts on Cam Ward last week. So what's your takes on Lagway?
So for me, it's difficult. I'm torn because of the way the team has been playing and stuff, right? So I see every time y'all talk about it, and I watch it, I'm like, I see the twinkle in y'all eyes, hope. Like I see. So I think the ceiling is high for him, but I don't think quarterback play is the least of their worries. I don't want to say that because the quarterback's the most important person on the team, but they got to fix the other things.
Oh yeah, there's definitely holes in the roster, but when it comes down to This is why Florida fans were so pissed and were calling for Billy's job, because he was on the roster against Miami. He got some reps, and like I said this. You probably didn't hear it. I'd like to go back and play Miami this week. Like, I think it would be a different game, like a different game if we're playing you guys and we're healthy with Lagway.
100%.
But that's why Florida fans were so pissed, because we knew the talent on the roster. But then as a coach, like, I can't be mad as you're playing the senior who has all this, experience over Lagway.
Yeah.
So it's Billy's turned it around. I'll be critical when it's time to be critical. I still don't love your play calling, but when you watch the games now, the play calling is a little different. Or is it just the quarterback is making the plays that are being called? Instead of hitting the check down and going right to see, the one thing about Lagway, opposed to a lot of other quarterbacks, he starts top to bottom. He's looking for the home run, the deep ball, and then he's coming back. Where I feel like Mertz was a little more, let's look at the check down first, the slant coming from a tight end or something like the second, and then maybe is there anybody deep, up sack, that kind of
Graham Mertz last year, he was always looking for the 5, 10, 15-yard pass.
Yeah.
He wasn't really looking for the deep ball like Lagway is now.
And DJ's looking to go deep.
Yeah.
And that opens up the run game. That opens up everything else. So that is why you're saying.
And there's things that we don't know, right? Like if you equate it to, like, when we play the game and stuff, right? There's a primary route. And on the game, it's a hot route or whatever, right? Like, there's a primary route that is supposed to be looked at before he makes his check downs, right? That's not always a home run.
Right.
That's not always the home run ball or whatever, right? What you're saying is Lagway gives that more time to develop before checking down than Ertz or Mertz. I don't even know his name.
Yeah.
Mertz. Then Mertz. I feel like Mertz was checking out sooner.
Yeah.
And not being able to hit those plays.
Yeah, and a little bit of that is just having those happy feet and not having the God.
Yeah, but he's a senior.
But he doesn't have the God given the gift that Lagway has.
He's getting an accounting job. He's not playing pro football on the next level.
Correct.
Like, you either have it or you don't. And Lagway looks like, in the spirit of football, it looks like he has it, right? That's what y'all are seeing. It's like, oh, he looked like he played ball. You know what I mean? And that's what you want. That's what Tebow had, right? Like, you're like, oh, he played ball. That's what you want to see.
Well, the Gators are in a position. They got 2 games left on the season. They got to win 1 game to get a bowl game. One of the games is against Florida State. I ain't chalking it up as an automatic victory because it's in Florida State. I seen what Florida State did against Miami. So I know, as a Gator fan, when we go to Tallahassee and Florida State's had the crappiest year I could ever imagine on earth, they're still going to play us tight. It's still going to be a game. We're not going to blow them out. But I think we can get one win out of these 2 and make a bowl game, and then Billy Napier's got to go out and win that bowl game. But the biggest thing that a bowl game does for the program is get you an extra 10, 12 practices and an extra game. And that is a huge thing for DJ Lagway and the program and the build off for next year. And next year is going to be.
Chances are you're going to see a team that you had to prepare differently for. It's not going to be your SEC team or whatever, usually.
Yeah. 2 of the teams that I'm seeing, Cole, Arizona State and SMU.
I was about to say Arizona State.
SMU
really?
Yeah.
Legit.
SMU?
Arizona State's legit.
You mean 13th ranked SMU?
Yeah.
Really?
But
they're gonna lose though. SMU plays Clemson in the ACC championship. Clemson's gonna dog walk them.
That's true. But that's not a guarantee that they make the ACC championship though.
Who, Clemson?
No.
Well, there's only 2 games.
I mean,
there's
Clemson.
only 2 games left.
More the reason why they would play the Gators if they didn't make it.
That's true.
So let's get into the college football rankings and that'll segue right into the NFL and NBA talk that I want to pick your brains on. Me and Cole watched the little ESPN show where they have the rankings come out. This is so exciting to me. Like, I got excited at the end of December or whenever they do, or the beginning of December when they've done it in the past, the BCS polls and who's going to be playing. Everybody's getting excited. This college, and we've been calling it for years. We've been looking forward to this season. This is so much fun. It is so much fun. These college playoffs and teams having an opportunity to get there, and SMU and Indiana, Penn State, Boise State to play for a national title. Right. Now, Cole can run through the rankings real quick. We can discuss on it, and then in the past episodes, Seneca, we've made some arguments on, is the SEC built a little better for the playoffs than some of these other teams? Go ahead, Cole. Hit the rankings.
So you just want me
start number one? Just run down the quick 15.
All right, Oregon. This is 1 through 15. Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame. Go Irish. Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Miami, Boise State, SMU, BYU, Texas A&M. And at 16 is the Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Non-conference affiliated Irish, I might add, that you're talking about. Go with
that needs to change.
That's okay.
That needs to change moving forward.
That's okay.
So look,
we're still 9-1. We're still 9-1, ranked 6th in the nation. Miami's ranked 11th.
In real quick and tell y'all what. And I just had this conversation with Zach. Zach's a big Ohio State fan, so I hate him on those days. Like, we're considering doing a Buckeyes Hurricane college football podcast and stuff. Like, but
that'd be a boring one.
He's a okay, Florida. Okay,
okay. Florida football is more fun to watch than Miami football. That's just me.
Yeah. So, that game we beat Florida was pretty exciting for us. But
hey,
anyway.
We had Graham Mertz at quarterback. If we had DJ Lagway, it would be a different story with everyone healthy.
He suited up.
He suited up when the game was 41-17.
We play him again next year. We'll get our get-backs.
But he's a big Ten fan, right? And I keep trying. So I'll tell him, like, as much, and I'm not a pro SEC, like, because my team's not in the SEC. I hate hearing, it's like when Tom Brady was always winning and now Mahomes. Like, people get tired of hearing about the SEC being so good. Like, I get it. But here's the thing. Like, the SEC every year has its top 3 or 4 teams that are really, really great. Then they have some mid-tier teams that are solid. And we talk about those teams would probably win any other conference that they were put in. And then there's the lower tier SEC teams. And at the very bottom, some of them are trash, but they're not good SEC teams. Every other conference only has 2 tiers, though. They're top heavy, right? Like Big Ten, except for this year, but traditionally, Michigan, Ohio State, right? Penn State. And then the rest of them are trash, though.
Yeah.
There's no mid-level tier like the SEC has. Every conference is like that. That's why Texas left, right? Like, there's 3, and then occasionally you have a 4th team that makes some noise that year. You know what I mean? But then the other 8 are horrible. Yeah. Like, horrible. Vanderbilt beat Alabama. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even the really bad teams would be middle of the pack probably in some of these other conferences. But the mid-tier teams in the SEC probably win the big or play in the Big Ten champ. Because, I mean, Ohio State, as much as I hate them, they're not scrubs, right? Like, but the mid-tier teams probably play in those conference championship games. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's the big difference. As much as we hate it, that is what it is. Like, that's just, I do think the NIL thing for the first time, and Zach brought this up to me, shout out to Zach, the NIL for the first pro I've ever really been for it, the competition has been leveled out. Like, there is no betting the favorite. Yeah. There's no automatic, these 3 teams are the best teams in college football anymore.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And that goes to what we talked on the last pod. You're making the point because I said if you put South Carolina in the ACC, South Carolina may be playing for an ACC championship, and
fact.
and they both agreed. And Jaden is a Clemson fan.
Yeah.
And what you're saying, we can say that Florida is one of those middle pack SEC teams at the moment.
I agree.
Right? Maybe could have beat Tennessee. Should have beat Tennessee. If Lagway didn't get hurt, should have beat Georgia. Was beating Georgia,
beat Georgia,
like handling Georgia until Lagway got hurt. Beat LSU, playing Ole Miss. We'll see. So, and they're not gonna to win a national championship, but it's going on to the point that what I said, Seneca, was this because they said on any given Saturday, yes, I 1,000% agree. Boise State, my second favorite team is Penn State. I'll even throw Notre Dame in there, Cole. Notre Dame. Did I say Indiana? Indiana. SMU. Those teams in this playoff to go on that Cinderella run, they're not built that way.
Are you crazy? Notre Dame is that team.
No,
bro.
like
That's why they're ranked 6th in the nation.
Calm down.
All right.
Yeah,
We
But
go
Notre Dame
see
never
we
plays
go see
anybody.
come playoff time. We go see.
Notre Dame never plays anybody.
That's all right.
They're worse than the Big Ten was before the addition of Oregon and who else did they add? USC.
No, because
right?
that's all right.
Notre Dame literally doesn't have conference requirements, so they don't have to play anybody.
I will agree with that.
They may schedule one good they can't even say non-conference. They may just schedule one good opponent. They have one competitive game a year, maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
That
that's
doesn't
not
mean
their
they can't
fault
be-
though. They're taking
I
care
know.
of business.
I was going there. Listen, I was going there. That doesn't mean they can't be good. My Hurricanes back in the ACC when in the best team of all time in college football, the 01 Canes, the ACC wasn't. Florida State was the only other good competition in the ACC, right? But we still went on and beat the brakes off like Nebraska and whoever else, right? But so it doesn't mean Notre Dame can't be a good team. It's just they ain't proved like to be talking crazy about them when they not getting tested.
Yeah.
Is diabolical.
And that's the thing that I'm trying to pass on to these young bucks, Cole or Seneca, is that if you're ranked 5th, 6th, and up, you got to go on a 4-game run to win a championship.
Right.
They ain't used to that week in and week out, that competition.
Right.
And
because we say any given Saturday, yeah, they can win one.
yeah, you can win one.
But if you put SMU up against Alabama 10 times, they might only get one.
Right.
Now, let's be real though. If there's any team that can go on that run, it's probably Boise State. If we're being honest,
Because they have the running game. Yes.
exactly.
I will agree.
And their only loss is the number 1 ranked team in the country, who they only lost to by 3.
But before we move on to because this is a great segue to go into the NFL and NBA. But before we move on, Seneca, you brought up Zach a few times. Go ahead and shout out Zach. Zach is the producer of Seneca's albums. He is the made the track of our intro song. So you want to go ahead and give Zach a shout out and tell people where they can find him?
Oh, yeah. Zach not as social media friendly as I am, you know what I'm saying? But Z Proud Productions, me and him exclusively work together, and we have co-produced both the albums, but he is the beat production maker. So he's made every beat that I've rapped over on these albums. And he has mixed and engineered them down. And he has become like a brother to me, one of my best friends. But yeah, Z Proud Productions. He's on and off sometimes on social media, but that's what it is. Z Proud. But
well, if somebody's listening out there right now that maybe wants a beat or to go to listen to some beats to possibly purchase for themselves, where could they?
They'd have to reach out to me.
Okay.
They'd have to reach out.
Give them a hand over real quick on one of the social medias where they can reach out to you.
For me?
Yeah, for you.
Yeah. So my it's Carolina Everywhere on all of my platforms.
Okay. Carolina Everywhere. So all platforms.
Instagram, TikTok.
If you're looking for some beats, hit up Seneca. He can get you in touch with Zach. And but let's get into the NFL. because me and Cynic have been saying for years, Cole, that the NFL's got to do a reboot. Got to do a reboot. I know it's old school, and this is how it is, the NFC, AFC, and the divisions, the East, West, North, South. College football's college football's always, to me, been better, but it's night and day right now. NFL and the NBA are horrible to watch. Outside of the top couple of teams in the NFL, the Chiefs, the Lions, you can't even put the 49ers in there. We got Tampa Bay. We got Baker Mayfield playing against Tommy Cutlets this weekend. It's just
that's what makes it entertaining, though. You never know what you're gonna get on any given Sunday.
Right.
It's not, though.
I don't feel that way about the NFL. I still think the NFL is entertaining. I 1,000% have stopped watching the NBA. Though.
NBA is horrible.
Yeah, NBA is
nobody wants to watch a 6'11" guy shoot threes or handle the ball coming up the court.
Right.
It's not. Get down low, post up.
And they're finding out that the ratings are dipping because the same problem they were having with the All-Star games where people are like, we don't want to watch this, that's bleeding over in the regular season game.
Oh, they're changing the All-Star game too? They're changing it to some pickup style, some street ball.
They've been trying that I know the commissioner asked Steph for his input on what to do for listen, the 3-point contest is still legit. The dunk contest.
It is what it is.
The dunk contest is so weak now, man. It's so weak.
There's only so many dunks you can do, right?
Yeah.
So we only get an exciting dunk contest every once in a while, and they don't make the stars do it, right? I'm gonna tell you right now, if LeBron James signed up for the dunk contest this year, it would do the numbers that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson did.
Yeah, it's true.
But we don't want to watch. I don't as excited as it was because it was one of the better ones. I don't want to watch Zach LaVine doing dunk contests. I want to watch the players that are the league, the face of the league. You know what I mean?
I see. If Ja Morant was in that, oof.
Right.
Zion Williamson, oof.
Crazy.
Yeah.
They could sell it on pay-per-view if the stars did it.
Really, they could.
College,
but the league, the changing of the rules and the referees relax, people don't understand, and I know we have this, especially with Cole. We have this generations, and I know I'm gonna sound like the old head, just like when football changed how they tackled, right? I get it with the NBA. We have literally expanded, the things that players got called for in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, early 2000s. They don't call, they've expanded the rules to include it, right? One of the most fundamental things in the game was traveling, and they've added, basically, over the last 10 years, they've added 2 extra steps you could take. Well, shit, I understand that athletes are more athletic now, but they're not as talented. Yeah. They're just fundamentally of the game. If a player, and I don't want to get into Jordan, LeBron, and all that, but if you had a player that scored 20,000 points over his career, and he had to do it without being able to take 2 extra gather steps, right? And that means more than players that get to take extra steps you literally can be worse talent-wise and achieve the same result.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I don't want to act like that I sit back and watch NBA and that I've just come to this conclusion that I'm not watching this crap no more. But I watch ESPN. I watch the highlights. It's just not me and Cole may go to a Nets game because I've come to the conclusion that I'm not paying what the Knicks want for pricing, especially on the secondary market.
I've never been to MSG. We got to go one time.
I'm gonna go watch St. John's at MSG. I'm not.
No. We got to go watch the Knicks one time.
I don't know. The cheapest seat I could find was $149.
Knicks basketball is revamped now. That's why.
And I ain't trying to be cheap, but I'm I don't.
They'll be bad again in a couple years. But listen, and it's not just the travel. The travel is the most talked about because it's so easy. But like the swim move by offensive players, and I played basketball back in school. Like I couldn't push off. I couldn't swipe my way into the lane to the basket. Oh my God. I'd have been playing at college. Like I wouldn't went pro because I'm short, but like I'd have played college ball if I could have swiped to get to the basket.
And the flopping is just.
Oh man, that's your boy too. He the king.
Any of Cole's
LeBron, stop playing.
Any of Cole's fans that are listening?
No, hold on, Cole.
No. LeBron does flop. LeBron does flop. LeBron does flop. He does. But you know who is the king of flopping? Joel Embiid. I hate Joel Embiid too. He's
horrible.
He's horrible. He flopped on a free throw. He did a free throw and then he flopped. How's that impossible?
He has not achieved what he needs to be telling people I'm not playing back-to-back games. I'm not like you haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. That MVP should have been Jokic's MVP because Jokic was statistically better than.
I don't know. I mean, he did put up the numbers to earn it. I agree with you. I think Jokic should have got it. They hate giving back-to-backs, and that would have been Jokic like 3 in a row, I think.
Yeah, this year he's number one in the MVP too. Could have been back-to-back.
Right. And I will tell you, as much as unpopular as it is, and Cole will love this, LeBron James has been shorted probably 4 or 5 MVP trophies.
Yeah.
I love that. I really do love that take, man. 2018 should have been LeBron.
There's at least 4 or 5 other seasons where he was the best player in the league, and he should have gotten that.
I'm shocked he didn't get it in 2018. That was probably one of his better seasons, and he didn't win the MVP.
I'm gonna give a hot take here and give Cole's fans a little advice. If Michael Jordan changed the game, well, let me stop. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson changed the NBA. Michael Jordan changed it again. Shaq changed it a little bit, and all for the better. Steph Curry changed the game, but I feel it's for the worst. If you're a fan of Cole's and you're younger generation, you're out playing pickup ball or you're playing basketball in a league or maybe in your high school team, if you can't hit a 12 or 15 footer consistently, stop shooting threes.
Yeah.
Stop. Like it's ridiculous. And a lot of these guys make them, but I don't want to see the ball come down the court, one pass, three-pointer, rebound or inbound, bring it back down the court, three-point miss, rebound, bring it down the court, couple passes, three-pointer, miss.
If we're going to be honest, though, Stephen Curry is probably the most influential basketball player of all time.
I'm not saying he's not, and I'm not knocking Steph Curry because Steph Curry is great. Steph Curry.
He's the most influential one of this generation, right? Like AI changed things, right? AI was the one that brought hip hop into basketball, and that changed the whole thing, right? Like the issue is this, and I'll tell you something that's an unpopular take. It's easier to be it's easier to be a basketball player if you shoot threes. And people are like, yeah, but making a three is harder. I disagree, right? Like if you're just practicing shooting threes and all you do is shoot threes, you like Gil, as much as I hate a lot of Gilbert Arenas' takes, right? Like Stephen Curry is not a transcendent player. He practiced and got like other people could practice and be as good at shooting threes as, if anything, Clay was probably a better 3-point shooter than Steph was, right? You can practice him and
you're crazy.
Clay got the most points in a quarter over there blubbering like a horse, Cole. Like you know what I'm saying? Like Cole,
I'll give you that. Klay Thompson is a top 5 3-point shooter of all time. He's a top 5 3-point shooter of all time, probably even top 3. But he's not better than Stephen Curry. He ain't a better 3-point shooter than Curry.
He's not overall better than Steph Curry. But there's a lot that would argue he's a better 3-point shooter than Steph Curry. Right? But you can learn that, right? And that's why everybody's doing it. That's why everybody's doing it. Yeah. You couldn't learn how to be Shaq. You couldn't learn how to be KD or LeBron, right? Like that's naturally gifted players. You can go to the gym and shoot 500 3-point shots and then make 40% of them in a game. Yeah. Right?
But I'm not even talking.
You can't drive into the lane and shoot a 10-footer or whatever with somebody on you and make 40% of those without having actual more talent.
I'm not even talking about I mean,
Kevin Durant special right there.
I'm like the NBA is a problem, but I'm talking like if you're just going to the rec or you're going to the outdoor courts to play, stop. Like if you're open for the three, take a couple of dribbles and hit the 15-footer. Like stop with because
They're not going to. That's
The-
the whole
this
thing.
it's so bad to watch. When I watch people play full court, and I'm talking about grown people now.
Yeah.
I'm watching people play basketball full court, and I'm like, this is horrible. This is
I
not
love it.
the sport.
Listen, when I still would try to go, I'm an old man now, but like 5, 10 years ago, when I would try to go to the gym, I loved it because they don't know how to play defense.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's the most old school conversation I've ever had in my life.
All right, well, all right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the Magnetico podcast. We'll be back next week. We're taking a trip to Florida. You excited, Cole?
Yes, sir.
Going back to Florida. So, Seneca, thank you for joining us. Everybody go check out
Going
Seneca's
back to
album,
Florida.
Carolina Sen, everywhere. Peace.
Peace.
Appreciate y'all.
Zach, are you